It is Tiffany Gaines, host of the Seekers Podcast. And man, let me tell you, I am so excited to now be able to do what everybody's been doing um, every single day, give their sports take or give their evaluation of the new display, the new lineup for Undisputed. The sports, no. I don't want to call him a commentator because he's not a commentator, but the debate personality, the sports debate show personality that everybody loves to hate, Skip Bayless. Now, everybody knows, and for those of you who are faithful listeners to my podcast, just keep listening and like and subscribe. All right. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Or if you don't want to hear this interesting tape that I don't think anybody's talking about, just like the video, please do something else in the background, sew a quilt, pop some popcorn, do some laundry, separate some, your whites from your colors. Just do something, but just keep the video playing and hit like. Thank you and thank you. But so Shannon Sharp leaves Undisputed after he has had enough, Lord, of Skip Bayless and his, I don't know, verbal banter, abuse, just kind of, I don't know. Skip is like a spoiled brat on television. He can't handle anybody having, or he doesn't handle well anybody having a different opinion than him, and he makes better than anybody. I'm talking about believe the lies you tell, and is the best at getting supporting facts around the lies that you tell. That's why I say, it's just ridiculous when people believe that Fox is right or telling the truth, or CNN is right and telling the truth. You can get a supporting set of facts to support any amount of BS. It's just a matter of what really makes sense. And so Skip is just great at that. He is a great, God, I don't know what to call him. Personality villain. He is like the number one villain, that probably the most disliked sports personality on television, and Fox thrives on it. Skip thrives on it. It's why he's a superstar, and that's why Fox lured him from ESPN. So that's my introduction to Skip. I respect his craft. He's got a hustle. Because you got to be brave to come in every day knowing that you're hated. You got to embrace being hated. You have to embrace your role, and he's embraced it and is a superstar because a lot of stuff that he says, there's some people who believe in the nonsense that he spits out, so he's on television for a reason. So he and Shannon decided that he was kind of done with dealing with Skip, and the line of disrespect was crossed when, excuse me, he said that Shannon was jealous of Tom Brady. Jesus Christ, Lord, stop, Skip. But, he crossed the line, and a lot of Skip's narrative, I think, was just grieving Shannon's soul, because some of the stuff that Skip talks about is just flagrantly ridiculous, But he finds a way to get some facts to support that nonsense. So anyway, Shannon's gone. Everybody knows that. So what am I going to say about this new lineup? I mean, hitters too. Hitters. Michael Irvin, Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman. And then we throw in Lil Wayne on Fridays and Rachel Nichols. I guess, what is she, like the sprinkles on the cupcake? I don't really get that. And Emmanuel Acho was even on there as a filler yesterday. He a whole new vibe. He a whole vibe himself. I don't watch Speak. I like Joy. But Emmanuel was just a lot. But kudos to him too. Brother doing his thing. So everybody's talking about how, Dan Le Batard. Well, these are some heavy hitters. They're going to take over your show. I mean, Skip did look like on day one, the preacher Michael Irvin is there. He didn't get up out his seat, walked around the desk, all demonstrative and Michael Irvin isms. Keyshawn, so Michael Irvin is a strong media personality, and I think highly entertaining. Amazing job on television since he's been on television. When he was on ESPN, he was fantastic. He moved to the NFL Network, he was fantastic. Got into some trouble at the Super Bowl, and so he's not really been on television since then. But anyway, an A-list personality is Michael Irvin. Keyshawn Johnson. I will admit, I've not listened to Keyshawn much outside of this week, but everybody from everybody that I've kind of listened to these sort of pre-prediction folks, and Marcellus Wiley is one of the people that I listened to who talked a lot about Keyshawn. I know Keyshawn as a personality. He's got a strong, assertive personality because that's how he was as a football player, and apparently his personality on television as a sports personality is the same. Strong, dominant personality. You just not gonna be able to push Keyshawn around. He's got a ginormous ego. So you got Michael Irvin, ginormous personality and ego. Keyshawn Johnson, ginormous personality and ego. Richard Sherman, I thought would fit perfectly because while Richard Sherman has a big football personality and ego, Richard Sherman has gotten into commentating and broadcasting, and so that's a different dynamic. That's a different analysis. It's not necessarily a television personality. He's a great X's and O's guys, working for Amazon Prime, calling Thursday night games or giving, pre and post game analysis on Thursday night football. I think he is great at dissecting. I love to hear his X's and O's commentary. And so, but I also thought that because he's not been on television doing the debate shows, that he would be, kind of the beige in there to kind of blend it all in together. But he knows his football too. And so, but as a football player, he's got a ginormous ego. And so that plays in too. So I'm not minimizing Richard Sherman's personality, as a whole, but I just thought he would be a great blender. At first when it was announced that it was just going to be Richard Sherman, I thought, okay, that could probably work because he had about as big a personality as Shannon. But now Richard's on there with two heavy hitters, and he's not going to look like a lightweight now. He's got to come out of kind of his commentating, his sports commentator personality, and kind of go into sports debate show personality, because that's a different thing. You have to be able to banter, and because he's not doing that on Thursday nights. They're giving, parallel analysis, different takes, but just parallel analysis. They're not combating each other, and they're not, trying to win an argument. So that's a different thing. So I thought he would be a great blender. And then we got Skip, who pre this lineup had the biggest personality on Undisputed. Shannon was awesome, but Skip's annoyance still carried the aroma of the show, right? Everybody loved Shannon on there. But now Skip is surrounded. So now Skip has got to show that he can deal with stars, personality stars, because I think the knock on Skip once Shannon left, and there was not not immediate, because I think it was announced that Shannon was leaving, and then I think maybe 2 weeks later Shannon was gone right after the NBA finals. He was really like, deuces, I'm out of here, bye. And Fox was like, whoa, this is our mid-morning lineup for the East Coast. Undisputed comes on at 6:30 a.m. on a Pacific time, which means that is like that's mid-morning time on the East Coast. So that's a big time slot, right? I know the Carlton show or whatever comes on before that, and they really carry the rush hour crowd for the East Coast. And so, but you got Central Time Zone and Pacific Time. So Undisputed carries a large audience. And so it's no small thing that because they did not have a replacement soon enough after Shannon gave them the deuces, it's no small thing that they were not on the air for 2 months. That means because you have the entire sports world of athletes riding behind Shannon and how he felt disrespected on Undisputed. You have the entire sports world of athletes whether they were saying it out loud or not, giving Skip the middle finger because he's not played sports. I'm not minimizing Skip's ability to talk sports because I don't believe you have to have played sports to be able to talk sports. I talk plenty of sports and I know a lot about what I'm talking. I don't care. I got some say, but give Skip his props in knowing what he's talking about. But he has not played in the way he would assert himself to a Hall of Famer, and to say to a Hall of Famer to another, that you're jealous of another would be or eventual Hall of Famer, Tom Brady, was just like disrespectful. And so you have all of these guys who are like side-eyeing Skip, like, man, F that dude. Nobody's gonna come sit at that desk, because you got to be able to withstand the blow and the annoyance and the arrogance of Skip Bayless. And I'm gonna say this: he might could have got Richard Sherman, because Richard Sherman works for Amazon Prime, but ESPN and their timely layoffs and Michael Irvin and his timely, I'm gonna get in trouble at the Super Bowl by flirting with a woman, and the woman gonna say I did some stuff that I don't believe I did, whatever. But Michael Irvin's Super Bowl screw up, ESPN's timely layoffs, is the only reason Fox has Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson. If Keyshawn Johnson was not available through, again, shout out to ESPN for helping Fox out, these layoffs, and Rachel Nichols, I still don't see how she's gonna get in that thing. I think she's a great interviewer. The players love her. Not even sports commentating, and that's not her bag. And she's not a debate personality. Whatever, she's like the NBA insider. I don't even know how much insider information she has on the NFL, and that is the biggest, kickoff this weekend, football. So I ain't got much to say about Rachel Nichols because I don't get it, but whatever. If it was not for Keyshawn and Michael Irvin's availability because of their layoffs and other issues, who was Skip going to get? And the other thing that I think nobody's talking about is Skip's got a ginormous ego. Shannon leaving him, Skip Bayless, I made you Shannon Sharp. You leaving me, ginormous ego. And so I think Fox, once they realized they couldn't get anybody, the one thing they decided is that we're not going to do a one-on-one anymore, because we can't be off the air for 2 months trying to figure this out and hoping maybe we can get or steal some talent from ESPN through a layoff, or we got to wait for a scandal for the NFL network to not want somebody back at the desk like Michael Irvin. So I think they told Skip, because Skip is not a sharer. Yeah, he started the multiple personality forum when he was on Cold Pizza. Everybody talks about Skip created that format that First Take does now, having multiple personalities on. And I think First Take learned a lesson too. It's like, if one guy decides that they're going to leave, the show is in, what the hell we going to do? Panic mode, right? So now we're not going to do that one-on-one anymore. You got a dominant personality. You might piss some people off after 6 or 7 years, like you did Shannon Sharp. We got to have a few people at this desk to keep the show going. And so I think that's a great idea by Fox. Let's get a form of people in here, and so that we won't put ourselves in another vulnerable position, because it takes a lot to deal with somebody like Skip, who just makes shit up. I mean, but he good at it too, man. But did they do too much, right? The only available, I feel like Jason Williams, who was also laid off by ESPN, would have been a great personality. And I think he could have dealt with Skip. I think he could handle Skip. I don't know, maybe Jason Williams, because football is huge, and you got to get a personality on there that can handle football debates, football analysis, football history, you got to have a person that is strong in NFL feedback, knowledge, experience. And it doesn't have to even be somebody that played. It could be somebody like Nick Wright, who is just a sports historian. Nick is so awesome. And word on the street is that um and I don't know if this is true or not. I got this hot gossip via Marcellus Wiley or and Dan Lebatard, maybe. Maybe it was more Dan Lebatard who said, from a Fox Insider, that they felt like Nick Wright would disembowel Skip on air. And I believe that because Nick is so great at making you look foolish. If you try to talk to Nick Wright and you ain't got your homework done, you ain't prepared, you're going to end up looking foolish. And he's just a small little, I think he's an Italian guy with long hair on TV, but damn, he's good. So you got to have a strong football personality, somebody with some strong football knowledge. So you got to have somebody that can give you some strong football feedback. And so maybe that's why they didn't think about Jason Williams, because personality wise, I think he would have fit in more of a submissive role to dominate Skip. But that's just me. He would have been great with basketball because he played basketball. He was a basketball star at Duke. Terrible motorcycle accident derailed his NBA career. But I don't know why they didn't do that. Max Kellerman, and let's just talk about this thing. I never thought Nick Wright was going to be an option because Nick's white. Skip's white. There is something about Skip. I think Skip feels validated by the black athlete. I think that Skip feels like I don't even know how to articulately say this, but I feel like Skip's got a ginormous ego, but I feel like he doesn't feel like there's another white guy who could really go toe to toe with him. I feel like Skip needs the black athlete for some reason. Because, not one other white guy, not one Skip. You got Rachel Nichols. But again, I done talked about Rachel. She's a white woman. But again, what's her debate credential? I don't get it. She's Rachel Nichols. But so that I feel like, well, actually, and if I want to talk about white guys and disemboweling Skip on television and making him look absolutely foolish, I think Max Kellerman is awesome, but I think Max would wipe the floor with Skip as well, with just his not, because Skip is nonsensical sometimes with his takes. He figures out who he doesn't like and he builds a narrative around it like nobody else. God, he's great at that. It's like your kids, right? The kids are great at building a narrative around nonsense. And so I feel like that is what Skip does better than anybody else on television. And it's why he's the most disliked personality. So I thought Max would have been good. But there's a culture thing that Skip needs that I think validates him. The way he just flanks all over Lil Wayne. And I don't everybody. I'm about to say something that's stupid. I don't know Lil Wayne. Like, I really had to just kind of put that out there. Like, everybody knows I don't know Lil Wayne. I don't even listen to his music. I just respect his craft, and I respect the fact that other people respect him. So, but I don't know anything about Lil Wayne's music. I just know he's an icon. But he's black. And it's not that he's black, but the way Skip acts like Lil Wayne validates him, the way he just, it's ass kissing. And I think it makes Lil Wayne uncomfortable. Lil Wayne is just kind of a dude and he just kind of wants to be. The one thing I like about Lil Wayne is that he just kind of walks into the room and just kind of wants to talk to people. And whatever format or platform or podcast he's on, he just blends in. His personality, physically he stands out, but he's kind of humble and not necessarily meek, but he's who he is, but he is just kind of a chill dude. And when people go on and on about his his stature and his and his status and who he is as a rapper, he doesn't come across as just I can't explain it. But I just respect his demeanor so much. But I said all that to say when Skip goes in on all of that Lil Wayne stuff, my brother, he acts like Lil Wayne is his brother. But and I'm not saying that they're not friends. They do spend time. Skip spends private time, at Lil Wayne's house. But every time he's at Lil Wayne's house, he gives a detailed paragraph about what they're doing at Lil Wayne's house. He and his wife, Skip and his wife, they spend some time with Lil Wayne. So they're legitimate friends. The fact that Lil Wayne's done both musical intros for Undisputed when Shannon was on, and he did a new intro. And let me talk about that. Let me talk about the intro. I'm all over the place, but just stay with me on this thing. So I've talked about the dominant personalities that are going to drown out Skip. If and I don't and I'm gonna say this too. I don't think that format's going to stay the same. So Monday and Tuesday they had Keyshawn, Michael Irvin, and Richard Sherman. They're not going to be able to do that because Skip got this much time to talk on the show's episodes Monday and Tuesday. Michael Irvin, Keyshawn, and Richard Sherman, that's too much. That's going to run Skip out of the room. And so then on Wednesday, it was Michael Irvin was gone. So it was just Keyshawn and Richard Sherman. Even that, I'm starting to see how big of a personality Keyshawn is. He talks a lot. And then yesterday they had Emmanuel Acho. And today is just Keyshawn. And then they're going to bring Skip's brother Lil Wayne on. But that's a lot of personality. And they're going to drown out Skip Bayless. Now, why am I saying that? If they keep that format as it has been this week, Monday and Tuesday, Michael Irvin's going to out talk everybody. And then Keyshawn will be second. On Wednesdays, Keyshawn is going to out talk everybody. On Thursdays and Fridays, Keyshawn is going to out talk everybody. But the intro to the show is a tribute to Skip. And so the intro to the show has nobody else on it. Not Shannon, God. None of the other personalities that they've added. Fox has gone out of its way, and Skip has gone out of his way to make sure that this combat says, I'm still in this thing. I'm Skip Bayless. I'm about that. I got Lil Wayne to do me another intro. I'm on the intro with Lil Wayne doing fist bumps. The new song is a tribute and a clap back to Skip. For Skip, to build Skip up. Skip didn't lose. Shannon left, so what? I'm Skip Bayless. The first words of the song that say skip the BS. And I've had to learn how to listen to rap, because, and the other thing is that I don't even want, because I don't really remember, but the first words of the song is skip, as in Bayless, but the play on words, skip the BS, right? But it's a tribute to Skip. It's a clap back to all of us who felt like, that's what you get, running off good talent. So he's got Lil Wayne to do this clap back intro. But after the clap back intro, that's all about Skip. Then you come into the studio and the cameras zoom in on all of these big personalities, and that song looks silly in comparison. The song for the show does not match the atmosphere of the show. Unless Skip spends more time with just Keyshawn and he kind of gets Keyshawn to even out his comeback and his rhetoric and his feet, unless he gets Keyshawn to simmer down some on his analysis, he's still going to become an insignificant figure or a second tier figure on his own show. Skip the BS. Undisputed. Lord have mercy. So yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot early. It's a lot right now. And it's going to be interesting to see. My prediction, Mondays and Tuesdays are going to be, all the guys are going to be in there. And Skip's just going to be the outside man. Now, for a while, because the other thing, running Shannon off, I 100% believe that Fox called Skip in there and said, "Hey, you got to tone your disrespect down." The way he will shush Shannon and yell, "I'm talking. It's my turn." Slamming on the desk, all of the disrespectful. Whenever Shannon would start talking, and Skip would be on the other side of the table with his kind of grunting under his breath, like kind of disrespectful, like all of that, and the not being able to interrupt him, and thus preventing sort of a healthy banter back and forth. How Skip would sometimes go on these 5-minute monologues, and and then the way he would do it, he would always start back at somebody's childhood and then bring his point all the way back to current day. A lot of that format, the way that Skip did the old Undisputed, Fox is like, that's not going to work out. You're going to have to learn how to play well with others. That's what Fox has said to Skip. You're going to have to learn to play well with others. If somebody respectfully interjects your commentary, you're going to have to sit there and take it. You're going to have to sit there and learn how to figure it out. You're going to have to learn how to get along and play well with others, sir. Because what we can't do, this show in this time slot, we can't have a 2.5 month hiatus because somebody's sick of messing with you. So figure it out, learn how to play well with the big boys. And, you know, and he talking, Skip's my fault. I wanted Michael. You wanted these people because you thought that it would show people that you didn't lose. But what you didn't see or think about or figure out is how you're going to play with these people. These are supposed to be people on your team. Well, these people saw what happened with Shannon. Shannon blew the hell up on Undisputed and is now going to be working at ESPN. I still don't know how I feel about that. I just feel like Shannon's an A-list. He should be doing his own thing. He don't need a stage with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, I like Stephen A. Smith. I love Stephen A. Smith, but Shannon doesn't need to be that on there. He can do his own thing. If Marcellus Wiley can do it, Pat McAfee did it and ended up being a superstar. I mean, I know he's got Club Shay Shay, and shout out to Colin Cowherd and the Volume. I think that's really where Shannon's going to blow up. And I think he doesn't want to be hitched to a network full time anymore. I really think he's putting all his marbles in his podcast, Club Shay Shay, and his I don't know if it's brandy, whiskey, cognac, whatever. His liquor brand, La Portier. And so I think that he wants to be back on television, and he gave ESPN an opportunity. I mean, listen, other than Stephen A. Smith, there's no long-term investment in anybody going to ESPN because they don't do long-term investment in personnel. They got one personality that makes that network relevant now, and that is Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith knows it. And so you work them, boy. But other than that, you get rid of Max Kellerman, you get rid of Keyshawn Johnson, you get rid of Jay Will. I just Stephen A. Smith. They got Stephen A. Smith, and that's it. Now Michael Irvin can't come back on there for whatever he did or didn't do at the Super Bowl. But anyway, thus and therefore I digress. Back to my regularly scheduled program. Skip Bayless, the new Undisputed. It's a lot. Fox learned some things. They have told Skip some things. And I think that this lineup is an overcorrection by Skip and by Fox. This heavy hitter lineup is an overcorrection. You know, you're driving down the road, somebody gets too close in your lane, and you overcorrect and you cause an entire accident. That's what this is. Michael Irvin, Keyshawn, and Richard Sherman. This is an overcorrection because really all you needed was one big personality. Richard Sherman's a big personality. He could grow into that role, and you needed maybe another soft touch like Jay Williams, who could come in there and give some valued commentary and some valued analysis. But all three of those guys, again, it's football season, so I don't think they're gonna have four guys on that desk every day. Skip, Michael, Keyshawn, and Richard. That's not gonna work every day. Skip's never gonna talk. And if you compare that lineup to Skip the BS, the intro song, the format of the show, and that song, it's like, okay, well, this guy's mm-mm. It's so it's the first week. I think that Keyshawn is going to be the mic that's on every day. And I think Richard will be on 3 days. Michael maybe two. But Richard Sherman, I think, signed a I don't know, maybe 52 shows. It's not a lot. Richard Sherman's contract is interesting. So I think he's going to spend a lot of time during football season. And because I don't know how much of a basketball guy he is. Basketball season is a lot of talk on that show. Once football season phases out, basketball, February through June, that's a lot. So you got to have somebody that can give some basketball analysis. And I know that's why they got Rachel Nichols in there. But again, she's just insider information. But yeah, I think the takeaway is the overcorrection by Fox, too many personalities, the intro song, which is a tribute in a it's an obnoxious intro song because it's all about Skip. It's a tribute to Skip. It's a clapback for Skip. It's a clapback for Skip. But how are they going to make it work? Too many dominant personalities, in my opinion, along with Skip, because he's also a dominant personality. But if you watch how he has yielded the floor. Anytime somebody has interrupted him this week, he has just shut the hell up and let them talk. Because Fox has told Skip, you gonna have to do something different. Okay? Shannon was a huge personality to lose. And I think he would have stayed there if it were not for Skip wearing him out. Fox knows that. The way everybody's coming at Shannon, the way it was like a lottery for the volume. Shout out Colin Cowherd to land Shannon Sharp for his podcast Club Shay Shay with over 1 million subscribers. You don't think Fox wanted that on their platform under their umbrella? Because that's where it was. Fox was, was the platform for Club Shay Shay. Now the volume gets it. And shout out to Shannon Sharp for being smart enough to, when he agreed to do that, because every time he comes on, welcome to Club Shay Shay. I am the sole proprietor of Club Shay Shay. That means if I leave here, Fox, I'm doing this podcast in y'all studios, but if I leave here, this show coming with me. So, smart, right? But yeah, it's too early to tell, but thus far, complete chaos. They have told Skip, you're going to play well this time, sir. You're going to learn how to do this format differently. And so, yeah, that's my take on a week's worth of Undisputed. I have been waiting for this disaster. And I like the time slot because I'm on the Pacific coast. And so it's my prime morning spot, 6:30 a.m. to 9. And then I got Colin Cowherd at 9. That's my morning lineup. So it's a huge time slot. Make no mistake, them not being on for 2.5 months is not because they were just taking some time off. Skip does not take time off. It's because they couldn't find anybody. And ESPN was emptying out, was on their layoff thing. And that is the only reason that they were able to get Keyshawn Johnson and Michael Irving. The NFL Network, I think, is in the Fox building. I think they're under the umbrella of Fox. And so, it works well. Michael Irvin worked for Fox and for ESPN. But anyway, yeah. Interesting. So we'll see how football season, after the first NFL game, we will see how this format plays out. How long will it last? What do y'all think? Tell me what you think. Like and subscribe. Tiffany Gaines, host of the Seekers podcast. It is the Skip Bayless Undisputed Review. Tell me what you think. Get in the comments. Peace.